You gotta make sure you gotta show them the text about starting a podcast. Cause like it made it out the group chat.
Like it did.
There's a lot of times they talk about the podcast and don't make it out the group chat.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody? My name is Hayley.
Hey, y'all. I'm Mooley.
Welcome to Courtside Cousins. So I went down to the preheat in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And I got there like 11:15. Doors supposed to open at like 12. They opened up at like 12:15. Me, I'm sitting in line thinking, oh, they, the rumored 500 pairs of shoes. I'm thinking I'm straight, like I'm good. Waiting in line for 3 hours. Finally get into the Foot Locker. I was like, hey, I need, whatever size. And they were like, oh no, we're out of those. We have like size 14 women left. That's all that's left. I was like, do y'all have any shirts? And they were like, yeah, we got shirts. I was like, what about the slides? They didn't have the slides. So I did get the slides. They are really cute. And, I'm not even a pink person, but...
We know, young man. Don't nobody care that you got the slides, though. Because everybody didn't get the slides.
Oh, I'm sorry. You sound a little hurt. I can't lie, but they are cute. And like I said, pink's not my color. Like blue's my color, but they are really cute. But after that, so I waited in line for 3 hours. After that, went over to Hyatt Park because they had like a part 2 of the day for Asia. And like they had free food, games, like little children. They were out playing little basketball stations and stuff like that. So I went out there, filmed some stuff. And then I left there, headed over to South Carolina's campus, to Colonial Life Arena, so I could film more content. But also they had the selection show, so that was good to be a part of the team finding out what regional they were in, as well as what seed.
So, because you got to go see Don and them, and you got your little pink slides or whatever, you think you're better than everybody else.
I am just a little special. Just saying. I am a little special.
I'm not jealous or nothing. I'm not a hater or nothing, but
it's all right.
Right now, I'm Kendrick and you Drake right now.
Oh, wow. That's fine. And that's fine.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, look, anyway, I've done a lot in the last few weeks. I feel like I've been everywhere and not at home ever. But we did just have the trip to Miami.
I'm glad you said we, because it was a lot.
Listen, I was getting there. I was just saying, like, on top of the trip we had to Miami, I had, the whole South Carolina thing down in Columbia. But yes, we did have the trip to Miami. That was a lot of fun.
That was a
little stressful. But we did get a lot. We got a lot done in 3 days.
I'm still tired, honestly.
A lot done in 3 days. We were able to go see the closing weekend for Unrivaled for the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. Our Laces clinched the playoffs, a little upset.
They clinched the playoffs, but yikes.
It's fine.
Chelsea Gray did Chelsea Gray things.
And look, and that's the point guard we know.
And like during the W season, I'm fine because I'm an Aces fan. But last night
hurt.
Last night I was like, oh, she can't miss. She just hit all of them.
Yeah.
And then she hit the game winner and said, bye, like, go home because y'all done hurt my heart. Why you got to be disrespectful?
Like, why did it have to be you? Out of everybody, like, it could have been anybody else. It hurt a little bit more because it was Chelsea.
Because why you treating us like that?
Chelsea Lakeisha Gray.
Lakeisha.
But no, like I said, our trip was it was a lot of fun. And we were able to record down there. And our guest is unbelievable. From her time at Baylor and Maryland, UConn, to Unrivaled, Overtime Women's Basketball. She has been such a pivotal piece in the growth of women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So we did good. I think everybody's gonna like our guest.
This interview was a little unconventional. Like she carried it.
She carried.
She really did. She made this first episode a lot easier than we thought it was gonna be. We were real nervous going into it, but I mean, Chloe held it down. Like,
Yeah.
y'all really gonna enjoy this. So
Y'all are.
Enough yapping. Our first episode, our first guest is Chloe Pavlech. Cut it. Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
So like after the conversation with you back in January, I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it since the summertime.
Yeah.
I just feel like, and hopefully I reiterated that when I saw y'all, is like, okay, like Unrivaled was gonna be, I believe Unrivaled was always gonna be a hit. But the amount of like excitement and FOMO that was created was like really started with you guys and like your group, because I felt like we was probably only talking to like 5 to 15 people. And then, you know, the next hint or like the next thing we put out, all of a sudden we talking like 30 to 45 people.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden we're talking to like, you know, over 100 people. Y'all are like creating the buzz. Y'all are also like, hey yo, just like chill on them real quick. Chill on them. They trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's just so true. But
No, yeah,
like,
because people be like, what's the next? I mean, I used to ask and stuff too, but people be like, what's taking so long? I was like, chill, like, it's coming.
They human.
It's coming, y'all.
human.
I was like, the first game's not until January. Like, we got time.
We got
Yeah.
time.
And there's like, and I have to go back to really think of how many employees we had to start. But even when we were like doing all of that, like the team was just like so small, right? Like when, you know, the social team like was just me for a second. And then, you know, our editing team was just Key, right? And then our marketing team was just Kirby, you know? So it was like 3 people just trying to figure it out. And at the same time, even when it came to just getting players, like what people didn't realize, they're knee deep in W season, right? Like when we got funding and when we were really trying to launch this, we had to show proof of a concept, product, money. Then on top of that, you know, when you're focused on trying to win a championship, you know, the last thing you're kind of thinking about is what you're gonna do after the W season. And so, you know, a lot of that, it took time, but we did it.
Listen, I was all in. Like, cause I originally had started like guessing on Instagram, and I was like, man, I be on Threads more. And then I was like, these are the same hints. We can start guessing on Threads.
Yeah.
And then when me and ASAP had like started, like we was like, we can do this. Me and you got this. We started inviting more people in, and got like super crazy, really fast. And then next thing I know, people was like, when the tickets started going sell, and they were like, oh my gosh, like they're sold out. I said, where'd y'all come from?
Like, y'all wasn't here shooting off the gym.
What? we day ones.
Yeah. No, it's crazy, but y'all really are day ones, and it's crazy. Like this is my 3rd startup. So Overtime.
Getting to that.
Like Overtime on the women's side, Overtime women's basketball. My homeboy, who I attribute like all my success to, Marcus Crenshaw, coolest CEO on Instagram. Like he's a genius. Black man from Detroit, like always himself, has always showed up as himself, doesn't change for anybody. But when I was first just trying to figure out what I was gonna do after Maryland and basketball and after UConn, he was like, you need a job, like I got you. And this was before you could even explain to your parents like what the hell social media is. All my mom could really, even though my mom believed in the dream and supported the dream, especially when I told her after UConn I needed to move back home. You know, I was going to like Paul Brown Stadium, which at the time is where the Bengals play, and I was like shooting stand-ups outside because I wanted to do stuff on camera. I thought I was gonna be the next Oprah. And I sent my reel to Jamel Hill and Carrie Champion, and they looked at me and they're like, They stopped it after 5 seconds, and Jamel turned to me, looked me dead in my eye, was like, "Baby girl, you look like you're being tortured." And I was like, "Is this for me?" But like, it was Marcus. He had created She Hoops Network, just off the strength of him asking me, "Do girls want to see their highlights?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, girls want to see their highlights." You know, like, who doesn't want to watch themselves cook?
Yeah.
And so he started running that page, and it started blowing up. And then we started doing it together. And then one day, Overtime called and said they wanted to buy an Instagram account. And him and I were like, "Y'all want to buy an Instagram account?" Like, we're thinking, like, damn near we scammed them. Like, they trying to pay us for this whole time, us not really knowing what that could really turn into. And that was kind of our first taste at like digital real estate. But like, you know, he helped me get a job out of that. I moved to New York out of that. So I owe him just like everything, because he just always believed in me when no one else did, and just always was trying to figure out ways to give me just different opportunities.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
That coolest CEO.
Coolest CEO on
Shout out to
Instagram.
you.
For real. Like,
Y'all brought you brought us together
yeah.
in a way.
No, for real. And like, he's the owner of the Fam agency. So like Tip, Courtney Williams, Marina, and I think they have the most like W players. So he really, that's another person he also tried to get on this. Like, his story, I don't know if he'll tell his like real story, but his like PG-13 version is so good. But he's taught me like everything
Call
I
us.
know.
No, listen.
Coolest CEO. Call Chloe. She got our numbers.
That one.
For sure. So yes, and after overtime was like crazy, right? Because you got to think, we're building something online. We can only really get access to like high school players. The first player we ever really covered was Jada Williams, who's at Arizona right now. And obviously, you only know what you know online, right? It's not until you go in person and you see it. And I just remember going to see Jada Williams play in person for the first time. Because also, like, people will always come for me and like him because, and I'm not talking about Jada because Jada's really good, but we would post like other people. And you know, highlights, like, if you're not going to watch the game, like, you don't really know who's good or who's not. It's just off the strength of what people send you. But I remember going to Jada's game, and I can't remember if it was like Nike Nationals or something like that, but like, we could not get in the gym. Like, it was packed. And like, when Jada was walking by, like, kids would be like screaming, hollering, like treating her like a superstar. Mind you, she's in, I mean, that probably started in 5th grade, but when I saw her, I don't know, maybe she was like 8th grade-ish. And so I started covering her, met Juju Watkins, and the Juju Watkins stuff is crazy because her mom, Sarai, which Juju has the greatest mom. I love Sarai because if everybody had a mom like Sarai, I think you could accomplish so much in this world, because the way Sarai like believes and push like Juju and coverage for Juju is crazy. Like, I would be, I met Sarai somewhere and she was like, "I got a daughter, her name's Juju Watkins. Like, I'm telling you, she's next up." I'm like, okay, like, everybody's saying that about their daughter. Yeah, I kid you not. I go pull up, I watch Juju play, I'm like, oh no, she's different. Like, I'm talking in 8th grade, like, this girl, you knew she was gonna be a pro, right? And so off the strength of that, you know, we started covering her, and Sarai really pushed me to push Overtime to post more women, like on the, I don't want to call it the main account, but on the Overtime account versus OvertimeWBB. She's like, Juju doesn't just attract, like, you know, young girls to the game. Like, boys think that Juju's cool too. And I'm like, yeah, like, that's a good idea. Mind you, I was super young at this time too. Okay. So I called up our person that ran the main account at that time, like Overtime. I'm like, yo, like, you gotta watch Jada in person, you gotta watch Juju in person, you gotta watch Paige in person, you gotta watch AZ, you gotta watch all these guys, Malaysia Wiley. and they're like, okay.
I love Lay.
Oh my god.
Oh, my
Oh,
We
like,
talk about like
yeah,
popcorn.
yeah.
Like her, and I'll get to her story too. Like just crazy, but he pulled up and he watched Paige and he watched Juju, and he was like, they're better than the boys. Like we need to be posting them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see Overtime start posting them. Now we're seeing ESPN. Now we're seeing Slam. Now we're seeing like all of these different people, and it's off the strength of like word of mouth, but like really going in person.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Paige. Like we were covering AZ before Paige, and I went to go see AZ play because I've known AZ since like 5th grade. Because she would always come play open gym with us at Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And she could hang in 5th grade like with us, which was also crazy.
That's crazy.
And I just remember seeing AZ one time, and she was like, look, Chloe, like, I love you, but y'all need to be covering Paige Beckers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, the white girl from Minnesota? I'm like, yeah, she's tough.
Yeah.
And AZ's like, no, Chloe,
Yeah.
like, she's her. So same thing. I go see her play in person.
Mind blown.
I'm like, it's different. And it just goes to show like the skill set, but also just how cool it was for me. Like, AZ never had to say anything. And regardless, like Paige would have been Paige.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. However, I think that fandom started a lot earlier just because AZ off the strength was like, yo, this is who you need to cover. And as we would go see these top players, it was so cool. Like, we talk about sisterhood all the time, but like even when they were young, they really had that, right? Like it wasn't just Sarai telling me about Juju, it was Jada Williams telling me about Juju, right? And that's just how we started covering different people, but at the same time, it was only just me at that time, right? So like, how many people can you cover at one time? And so for me, it was really important when I saw Malaysia for Wiley's highlights. I was like, well, we got to get down to South Carolina. We got to cover her, because also, like, when we started covering women, like, and I'm just being honest, right? Like, we were covering a lot of mixed girls.
Mm-hmm.
We were covering a lot of white girls. And I'm like, it's very important for us to show representation in all shades, right? Malaysia for Wiley, however she presents herself, she hoops,
Yeah.
right? And she is, boys can look up to her, girls can look up to her. She's one of the best players at that age, and even now in college basketball. How can we help give her a platform to be able to showcase that? Not just with what we're building, but with what Overtime was building in general. So we started covering her. We started covering Ashley Chia. I don't know if she ended up going to Princeton, but like she was Asian. But it was just very important when you do have that control. And Ari Chambers and I would talk about that all the time. It's like, we have to be super mindful now that we have the keys to the account who we're covering, right? Like now we get to make those choices as far as who people get to see versus, typically if it was like a white man running something, like who they're choosing. And, having to like check certain men and people when they're like, when they see a highlight and they say like, oh, we should cover her, she's cute. And I'd have to be like, first of all, she's 17.
That's a child.
Yeah, it's a
And
child.
also I'd have to be like, would you say that about a dude?
Yeah.
And so it was, and not on no weird shit. Oh, sorry.
I guess we grown.
But, just, giving grace in a space, right? Because like, they were young guys too that were around me. They don't know any better either because no one ever taught them that.
Yeah.
They're just, and I don't want to say just being guys because no one should have that type of grace, but just understanding like, that's not how we talk about women. I don't know how you grew up, but now that you're around me, like, this is what you need to know. We don't cover girls just because they look a certain way. We cover these girls because they can freaking go.
Thank you.
Yeah, like when we went to Asia's jersey retirement, I brought my homeboy with me, and like he's like watching the game. He's like, I don't know who that is down there, but she, I was like, that's late. Like she like she's nice for real.
Different.
And he was like, I don't know. So I ain't never seen nothing like that. And it was like, it's his first time seeing a South Carolina game, but like he's all about basketball regardless on who it is. So, but he loved it. He loved being at that game.
No, she.
Joyce too.
Yeah, Joyce can go.
Yeah.
She was another one. She played for FBC. So I think right at the end at overtime, I was covering like Jelani Cambridge, Zam, that's at NC State. Zamaria Jones, yeah, she's at NC State.
Yeah.
Sanaya Rivers, that was another one we were covering. Joyce Edwards, I know they started covering her late after I had left. But it's cool because you go and see these teams, and like I knew about Jelani just because, you know, I saw her like break a girl's ankles. Now I'm going out in person, I'm like, oh, Joyce, she's cold. Like, we gotta cover her too, or we gotta cover her too.
Because Joyce is from Camden, so she's right there. And like, someone had told me, and they were like, yeah, like she's from my hometown, because I'm in South Carolina now, and they're like, she's from my hometown, da 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 da. And I was like, I gotta look her up.
Yeah.
She's nice.
Yeah. No, she was good. I think, Ashlyn Watkins, Chloe Kitts. I think we covered Raven for a little bit. I'm trying to think who's all on that side.
I gotta get something off my chest about
Okay.
Raven. I love Raven. Absolutely love Raven. Listen, and I know like a lot of people are like so offensively minded, and it's like y'all don't even understand. Raven's one of the best defenders in college basketball.
Easily.
Like, she's really tough on defense, and like she don't necessarily like, it's not gonna show up in the box scores in terms of like assists and stuff, but like the offense is running through her.
Yeah, she brings so much to everything that South Carolina has done these past few years, and I've just always thought, I made a video for her when I was trying to push one of my clothing lines, Sad Girl Hours, and I don't know if it was when they played Iowa, but maybe they were like letting her shoot. I don't know. Something happened.
Oh, the wave off?
The wave off.
Letting Raven shoot, and then
Yeah.
she's like, I'm coming back.
She's coming back better than ever with a vengeance, and just one, to be a player that doesn't shy away from that, welcomes that. Also to be so self-aware, to want to get in the gym, to want to be better, to also put yourself out there to be better. And she's just a great human to me, and I think it's somebody that's just super underrated. And I think she's gonna have like a hell of a career in the W. Like, she's just a person you want on your team, like at all times.
Yeah, I'm all in with Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, I always tell people, you know, like, well, you know, the big thing right now is the whole, she has 10 McDonald's All-Americans or whatever, and it's like, how can you be mad at that? Like, that shows up in her coaching and the fact that you can get 10 McDonald's All-Americans to buy into staying in a program and might not get the playing time that they necessarily should be getting, or, you know, would be getting somewhere else, but they have bought in to being on this team because they understand and they bought into Dawn. So I really like that.
Yeah.
That uncommon favor.
Oh, so I have one about Coach Staley, and it's so funny. This is when I was at UConn. I was a graduate assistant, and I can't remember if this was in Stores or in Gamble whenever I was there. I don't think it was at South Carolina. But anyways, you know how most of the time before the game, coaches, this is during warm-ups, so coaches from the opposing team, they may come and shake each coach's hand. And so I just remember, you know, I'm at the end of the bench, right? So no one's walking all the way down there to come shake my hand in warm-ups. And mind you, I'm a huge Dawn Staley fan at the time. Like, probably can't even get my words out if she tries to actually come and talk to me. And so she shakes Gino's hand, she shakes CD's hand, she shakes Marissa's hand, she shakes Shay's hand. She walks all the way down to where I'm at, and she came to shake my hand. And, you know, she introduced herself, and I was just like, Coach, I know who you are, but I just gotta tell you, no one has ever come down here and shook my hand. And, you know, she looked at me like, not crazy, but she was just like, oh, like, that's crazy. Like, why wouldn't people do that? But I think that's just a true testament to like who she is and her impact and just what she's done in the game. And to your point, like, it doesn't matter how many McDonald's All-Americans you have, the fact that you can make them play together, stay together, and have the type of chemistry that they do. I don't care who you are, you're one of the greatest coaches in the world, and that can't be denied, because no one can just get that type of caliber player and make them all stick together and work in the way that Dawn does. Like she's one of one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm big on like buying into that.
Yeah.
Like being able to buy into like that's crazy. But Dawn got it.
Mm-hmm.
I love Coach Staley.
Easily.
How do you feel about the impact that you've had on women's basketball?
Cause the resume is long. The resume is so long.
It is long. I think I always, and I learned this from Howard Megdal. He did, and I don't want to butcher it. But I don't know if it's Next Hoops, but Howard has played like a big impact, I know, in Ari's career. And I remember when I first got to Overtime, and he was calling me to interview me, he told me something that now I steal from him, which is, I want to get to a point where when I cover women or girls, they don't say thank you, right? Because when you go and cover the guys, they just expect coverage, right? Where I think we're still at a point where girls and women don't necessarily assume or think that that's the way it should be, even though it should be. And so he said his goal was to get to a point where if he did an interview or anything, people stopped saying thank you. For me, I think the impact is just being able to see, like, okay, when we look at Juju Watkins now, when we look at Paige Beckers, when we look at Lay, all these guys were going to be stars, right? It's just that they got a platform when they were younger to be able to transcend into that. Like, these guys had already built followings of diehard fans before they even stepped on the court in college. And so to me, I've always said, you think about Candace Parker and LeBron, okay? And Candace Parker's had a lot of coverage. But if she got that same amount of coverage starting when she was in 7th grade, like LeBron did, where would Candace Parker be? And so to me, it's like, that should always be our goal. And the coolest thing for me is like, when I do see Paige and she thanks me, or when I do see Juju and she's like, oh my God, Chloe, like, I haven't seen you in so long, but like, they're grown women, even how they carry themselves. And I just think it's really cool. It's just really cool for me to see, and it also makes me feel old as hell. Because I'm like, damn, you were really in 5th grade. Not to be that person, but literally being able to see that. The only thing I wish is that I could see them play, more in person. And the tough part when I was coaching at Baylor is, when you build all of these relationships and not being able to like talk to them, or not being able to say like, yo, I'm super proud of you. Like, this is so cool what you are doing, and I hope you always believe in yourself. So that was the tough part about coaching. But now when I do get to see them, or like I had a panel with like Chance the Rapper, Juju, and a couple other people, and I was like, this is crazy, but not crazy for them. Like Juju and those guys and Paige and Jada and Lay, like they should all, and Jelani, just expect that. And I hope that they do. I know they're all super humble, but like they are them, 100%. Like they are them. They were always gonna be stars, and I'm just happy to play like a small part in the journey.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself going back to coaching, or you like this lane that you're in now?
Yeah, so it's crazy. I get asked that all the time. And people are like, did you hate coaching? It's like, I didn't hate coaching. I love coaching. I really enjoy being around basketball. I love being in the gym. One of my favorite things to do when like Melissa Smith was at Baylor is,
I love it.
People don't understand that girl is a gym rat. And I'm talking about, would hit me up, any type of hour, like, I want to get in the gym. Like, sometimes we get in the gym at like 11 p.m. And she'd be like, this is what I want to work on. What do you think I should work on? And it was like that moment when you get to just, one, see how passionate someone like her is about the game of basketball, whether she was like happy, sad, going through something. Like, she poured everything she had into that game of basketball. And so being able to be in the gym, with her and some of those other players, like, to me, like, I feel closest to God in the gym. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I get the chance to do that, I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm never ruling out coaching. Mm-hmm. The reason I left was because I was like, there are so many other things I want to build and that I want to do. And if I stick in coaching, I may miss that window to be able to do that, because there are so many rules when you coach. Like, there's so many rules. Like, even when I wanted to do a clothing line, like, can't do that, because then all of a sudden, like, it's a recruiting violation. Or, but no, I loved coaching. I love Nikki Collin. Like, she just got 100 wins at Baylor. Mm-hmm. Like, genius. I've learned so much from her, and she was an unbelievable mentor, and the kids love her. Like, I would run through a wall for her. And, I always tell her, like, keep a spot open for me, like, just in case, like, keep a spot open for me. So no, I would definitely go back to coaching, because when I was growing up, like, I wanted to be like Don Staley. I wanted to be like Pat Summitt. I wanted to be like Gino. I wanted to do all those things. Now, they all started when they were really young. Yeah. So I'm gonna have, when I do get back, I'm gonna have some, work to do. But no, I just always thought that was just very, very cool.
Now, you went from coaching to NIL consulting, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
So you talked about the exposure. Yeah.
So that was another thing that was crazy. When I got hired at Baylor, everybody thought that they had hired me for NIL, which whole time no one realized I had gotten hired probably like a month before NIL had passed, right? And the one thing I really appreciated about Nikki Collin is she was like, no, like, I hired you because I know how much that people love and respect you, and I know that you know the game, and I know that you're all about loyalty, which was really important for me to hear, because it can be tough when you get that type of, like, a blessing before you're ready is a curse. And, I was like, am I ready for this? I don't have a lot of coaching experience, but I played at a high level. I learned from, to me, one of the greatest coaches in the game, Gino. Like, love him or hate him, like, he opened so many doors and opportunities for me and poured into me, and so did CD, and I love them to death. And so I was like, I don't know, like, can I be a good coach? And I know even when I first got to Baylor, they were like, overtime Chloe? Like, what are you doing? And so, because them also being, younger, not knowing that I really played, or not knowing that, I coached and got to work with the best at UConn. And so that was tough, I'm not gonna lie. But I automatically had a leg up on everybody else in the recruiting space because I had done brand work. I knew how to facilitate deals. I knew how to reach out to brands. I knew how to negotiate contracts. I knew what was a good contract and what was a bad contract. I knew how players could sell themselves and really build a brand and monetize, not just from a collective of a school giving you money. Because I'd say to them, I said, look, a donor is not going to give you $100,000 every year for the rest of your life. Like, that's just not going to happen. So let's figure out how you can really build your brand and open this whole other resource and job opportunity. Because my whole thing was, because I built a brand, if I ever got fired or quit at coaching and start my own business, I could, because I had this whole other business with social media and brand work. And so when I was at Baylor, I helped them become #1 in total NIL earnings throughout the Big 12 conference. And what do when you feel like you're good at something? You quit and you start a business.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and it was really cool. It was a lot of hard work. And then one of my best friends, she's actually the owner of Vertique. When I decided I wanted to do Unrivaled, I gave her a lot of our clients, and she kind of took over that. But it was cool. It was a lot of work and fun. And, Kiva helped me a lot. She's like the head of NIL at LSU. Taj, who was our director of recruiting at Baylor, and she's the Rose Basketball Club coordinator. She helped me get the business off the ground, which I couldn't have done anything without her. Because the craziest part, same thing when we talked about y'all starting this podcast. Like, you be having these good ideas, but you be scared. Like, it's this fear.
No, let me tell you,
like,
we've been shaking our boots.
I've been scared about 5 minutes ago, for real.
Like, till you walked through that door, I was like, we gotta record today. I was like, we got cameras, we got lights. I was like, I don't know if we could do this for real. And like leading up to this whole week, that's what I said. I can't come to Miami.
We've been like,
no, I texted her, and then she goes,
Chloe, we talking to Chloe.
So she was like, are you done being dramatic? I said, yeah, I'm cool now, but like, I just had to get that off my chest. Like, I'm not coming no more. I can't do it. But
no, it's facts. But the biggest thing is, like, sometimes you just need, one person to tell you, like, just do it. Like the same way y'all texted me. Like, this made it out the group chat. I gotta show them the messages.
Yeah.
But
I sent that message, and then I was like, she said do it. That's all she said.
Yeah.
2 words, do it. And I was like, let's go.
She said, let's start shout to me. I said, well, let's get on. Find equipment.
And so, the crazy thing, when I was working with Taj and Kiva, is, we built this whole business plan. I'm buying this, I'm buying that, but I'm not recruiting clients. And Taj is like, girl, like, if we're gonna do this business, you have to be for real. And, we had moved to New York, and, I'm in a 3-bed, 2-bath, shelling out $10,000 a month as an entrepreneur. And Marcus, shout out the coolest CEO, he was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you are an entrepreneur. Like, you gotta, like, cash is king. Like, you gotta protect your cash. So I moved back home to Cincinnati because we have a family condo out there. And Taj helped me start getting after it. And she was that person that, pushed me. And it was like, the only person that is holding yourself back, or, you are making yourself fail. It's self-sabotage because you are not trying, you are not putting yourself out there. Same thing with the clothing line that she helped me get off the ground. It was like, bro, like, people rock with sad girl hours. Like, you showed the kids, they love the gear.
No, I can't lie. I was on the page and I was like, how fast can the shirt get? Like, why have this by the time I get to Miami?
Yeah, like, she was like, people want to support you. Like, Jackie Young had hit me and was like, yo, how can I get a hoodie? Like, this is tough. And I'm like, yo, like, okay, people really rock with the gear. But it's like this fear, and I don't know if it's an expectation, and I don't know, you kind of just like tuck away the dream slowly, but it's like, nah, like, same way I'm telling y'all, just do it. Like, I just gotta do it. So I'm glad that I did. The hardest part is quitting, right? And so, I kept trying to push the date back in Baylor when I would quit. And like I said, I never hated my situation. I love my situation. So that's also why it was really hard for me to step away. But I also knew I had a passion, a vision, a goal, to build a league, to build a business, to build a clothing line. Because I'm a person, I'm like, anything I want to do, I'm going to do it. I don't know how it's going to get done. I'm going to find the right people to help me. But like, I don't want to have any regrets. And I want to say I tried every single thing, and my mom gets on me all the time. It's like, like, maybe focus on like a couple things and be great at that before you're like this, but I can't help it. That's just me.
So that's how I am. And like, we'll probably like have to FaceTime my mom after we're done. But like, my mom's all into this.
Good.
And like,
good.
She knows, like, she always says like, sports in general brings out a passion like in me. And so she was like, podcast is what y'all want to do, like,
Yes.
she's like, I'm here for it.
Yes,
She might be
mom.
our biggest fan.
No, she might just be our biggest fan. She said, no, like, when we first posted on Threads, like, nobody was asking any questions, and so my mom was like, I'm gonna get on there and ask questions.
Period.
I'm gonna be the first one. And I was like, thank you, like,
Facts.
you know.
Dang, I should have sent the link to my mom. My mom also, one thing, you know, and it sounds like, and I think this podcast is gonna blow up.
Yeah.
But let's say if it don't,
But we hoping.
I
Don't lose
know
to God's ears,
at
girl.
first, right? Like you gotta
My
just
mama
keep
gonna watch.
going. My mom, your mom, like
They're
they're gonna watch.
Yeah.
And my mom's gonna tell me, you said this, you should have done this.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say da da da? But that's what you have to have, and I feel so blessed and fortunate to be able to have, you know, that type of support because not everyone has that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never. Well, I do take my mom for granted. Sorry, mom. But I'm like, I'm so blessed because
Yeah.
anything I do, she is like all in on.
Yeah.
She's like, all in. You want to do that? Great.
No,
do it.
that's how it was like growing up. Like when I switched sports and like decided like I want to stick just to track and field, like,
Yeah.
and my mom was like, well, I'm all in with you, and she was like, we'll start going on visits, and you know, and like I love telling people the story on like how I committed. Like I was about to go D3 because it's like I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a great, like Augusta University is a great
school.
great school for
Oh my
medical.
God.
And so I was like, I'm just gonna commit here. I love this city. I'm from Georgia. Like Augusta's not that far. And then like that Thursday, I was supposed to like get in contact with coach. Like, hey, I'm ready to commit. And then up in South Carolina, USC Upstate was like, hey, do you have a like a school that you're going to? Have you committed? And I was like, oh, what do I do? And she's like, just tell him no. Like, let's see what you gotta say. And like within like 2 days, we were up at the visit, and he was like, I really love for you to come here. You know when people like slide like the piece of paper. And everyone was like, we looking at it. I was like, God, this is how much money we have.
That's big.
But that's when I decided to go ahead and commit to
that's
USC
awesome.
Upstate
I love
in
that.
Spartanburg. So yeah, my mom's all in visits and all that.
Good.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That's great. No, I love that.
You keep talking about your business, but you never mentioned the name.
So I had CR Consulting, which got acquired by the Vertique agency. Make sure y'all check them out. They do marketing, NIL, branding, speaking engagements, everything. Black women owned as well too. And Chelsea Carter, and Madi, they're the best, and they've even helped me.
I love Monty. Every single time we like seeing her like up in Nashville,
Yeah, she's supposed to. Isn't Monty supposed to be down here? Yeah, I haven't seen her. Her and Sid, they're supposed to
Hey, when they coming?
be there.
When they coming?
Today?
Today, probably.
No.
No?
Oh.
Monday. All right.
Okay.
See, I'm over here lying.
Hey, how do I extend my trip out? I'm trying to see how we
Girl,
can
we got a
extend
whole
this trip out.
photo shoot Monday.
We do have a whole photo shoot Monday.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, and so that's what I love about Threads, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've connected with so many people, and like I post like personal stuff like on my Instagram. None of that really took off. Like those are just my close friends and stuff like that. Same thing with like Twitter. I don't really like Twitter, but like Threads just said like I hopped on Threads and I was like, let's start an account. And I had like 5 followers when I first started, and I was like, it like shot up to like 800 like in a few months, and I was like, bro, who are these people?
No,
I don't know
facts.
these people,
But they love us.
they love us. Like
I started posting
They
on
do
Threads
love
by
you.
accident. Something from Instagram.
Just-
Shared the Threads. And I was like, who are these people?
yeah.
I love Threads. It is just so positive, such a good community. Like,
Which is crazy because these are the same people that could be
Same
on
people.
Twitter. Yeah,
And
but
Instagram.
no, but
Facts.
it's something about that block button. Like when people start talking nonsense,
Damn.
I just feel like you could block. It's like I don't know something about Threads.
Block this long.
No, it's
Yeah.
like
Me
she
too.
got like half Threads blocked. It's so sad.
Me too. If you
I'm tired of her texting us. Hey, why is there 7 comments and I can only see 1?
If you, when I tell you I'm so sensitive, which is probably so crazy to be working in social media and be that sensitive. I say our whole admin team is very sensitive, which whether that's good or a bad thing. But if you look even at my comment controls for Instagram, I got every single word you could possibly say blocked. Like I am maxed out of my word count on how many words you can block because I am so sensitive, and I can't help it. Like I don't when I would post on Twitter, I would post and leave. Like I would post and I would go to Threads because I know I could look at the comments on Threads and there may be a few, but it was mostly like pretty positive, which is like you should be able to look at every single comment, especially if you're running accounts. But like, yeah, I can't do it.
It's crazy.
No, listen, if something hurt my feelings, I just block it.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel bad for that person, but
I don't.
you shouldn't have said it.
I don't. You shouldn't have said it.
Shouldn't have said it.
Yeah, that block.
Also, but if you wouldn't say it to my face, don't say it online.
That part.
Don't say it online.
I was finna say my favorite line. You can't be my ass.
Nah.
You can't be.
No, because people be talking crazy on the internet. It's like, bro, like,
Yeah.
and I hate the faceless accounts. Like, I'm like, I could really be a private investigator. And like, there's someone, I don't even know what he had said, but he said something like straight out of line. But it was like no profile picture, just like the page, and his Threads wasn't like linked to the Instagram. I said it don't have to be linked.
No.
I done found your son. Like I was like, is this a good example you set for your son?
Yeah.
You know.
No.
And then he messed with me.
But I do love Threads for the connections that we made because we got cousin Bunte. I'm so sorry I can't think of your Threads name, girl.
Yeah.
But Bunte made
This
it.
is fire.
We'll tag them. But I love the bucket hats.
The jersey dress that I had on yesterday. We got KK, Chrissy, our photographer's tree, our editor, like
Everybody.
favorite cousin Benji over there.
Benji.
Yeah, Benji.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, and then the second business, Sad Girl Hours. So that is probably we gotta revamp a little bit. So y'all can head to the page, but we gotta get back and active. Please mind y'all, small business. So give me a little bit of grace.
Easy.
Look, Tosh shaking her head. Besides, you like you could have been sold out. The first time I sold, we sold our first hoodie, sold out, which was crazy. So then we decided to drop like a bunch of different colors and t-shirts. So essentially, Sad Girl Hours, like what it means for me is this idea of kind of the tagline is like, you were there when no one else was, right? And so what does that mean to me? It was like I poured everything I could into basketball. So whether I was sad, happy, mad, basketball was my therapy and still is my therapy in that sense. But when you're younger, you know, you don't really understand a lot about mental health. You, depending on where you come from, what type of community you're in, you know, therapy could be looked down upon.
Taboo.
Exactly. So, you know, sports in a way has to be your outlet because you don't know anything better. And so when I would tell this story of, you know, like whether I was going through heartbreak or, you know, whether, you know, someone had passed away that was super close to me, I knew I could go to the gym where I felt closest to God, and I knew I could pour everything I had into that ball. And so when I was at Baylor, you know hoopers do certain things, but sometimes until you see someone do something else that you do, you don't really know that other people do that. And so I just remember, and this was like my first few weeks on the job at Baylor, and I was up in my office working really late because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I'm just trying to figure it out. Yeah. And I hear Raw Wave blasting.
It was Melissa, wasn't it?
And it's Melissa. And so I don't have, like, I have a window, but like you can't open it. So I go to like our coach's office because she had a balcony. And I was like, and I can't remember what I asked her, but Liz was like, I'm here to feel better. And so at that moment, it was like, even with basketball, like, it's not always about getting better, it's about feeling better. And that's where I was like, Sad Girl Hours, because it was, you know, it was late at night. You know, late at night, you start getting in your feelings a bit, no matter what it's about. And then just kind of pouring it into the gym. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. And I had this, I can't draw at all, but I knew exactly, like I have great ideas up here. However it comes out, I'm figure it out, but I'm not like a great executor. And I had told Taj, I kind of had wrote on her iPad, like, this is what I see it looking like. And so I wrote sad in the form of a clock that was kind of like, it looked like 5 a.m. And then I don't even know what type of clock that is, but the 2 dots, the colon, the analog clock. Yeah. And then I had girl, and I just like put a box around it to serve as like a an analog clock or like a digital alarm clock, which now I'm showing my age because, you know, a lot of people, they ain't had to deal with the alarm clock. You just got the phone.
Listen, they get on me because like I'm 24, and they told me I'm a
baby.
Yeah,
she's a child.
They told me I'm a child.
She is a child, an infant.
And I hate that for me, but you know.
No, it's
I really
cool.
am. I'm only 24.
Yeah, 24. That's crazy. That's great. But yeah, that's sad girl hours, and so a lot of when I would talk to other hoopers, like people relate to that, you know, like and I would always say all those sad girl hours paying off, and people going through injury and different things like that, and just, you know, we all experience the same things. It's just sometimes we don't have a space where we can, you know, talk about that and feel with that. So I wish I had more time and resources to really put into that, because I think it's something that could take off, but it's more of like a passion project.
Listen, I have like I do shirts and stuff too, and like
She made these.
Yeah, I did, and then like
It's hard.
I also have like, but like with my actual brand, it's like dripping in melanin.
Oh, dope.
And it's like different versions of like actual like in brown, but then like I have like gradient colors and all that stuff. But listen, like
Yeah.
need some.
I'm gonna hit you.
Hop in the lab, design something.
Yeah.
I'm an iPad child for sure.
Yeah, iPad kids.
Yeah,
is.
I am. Like I have to when I eat, like I have to watch a show or something.
It's hilarious.
I be
Like I said.
Yeah.
like I be at work, like in the back of the ambulance, like I'm like, all right, it's lunchtime, and like I have to like pull up a show or something.
Facts.
It's crazy, but
That's good.
like everything's on my iPad.
Yeah.
I got the applicants on everything. Do all my tattoo sketches and stuff on there also.
Right
so.
there.
Meanwhile, I got a notebook in my backpack because I'm a
You
pen
write it
and
down.
paper. Yeah.
Pen and paper is crazy.
You write it down.
Pen and paper is absolutely crazy. Like,
Okay, we got a couple of threads questions, which I asked one. It was ASAP's question about your impact on women's basketball. Benji asked, what made you want to be a part of Unrivaled, and when did you know this move was for you?
It's a good question. Sorry, the water. So what's crazy is, I had an idea of having a 3-on-3 women's basketball league, because I was like, basketball is rooted in 3-on-3 concepts. And this is before I went, is this before I went to Baylor, Taj? Or no? I don't know the timeline.
I think you had it before, but then you like.
Yeah, so I had this idea before I went to Baylor, and then I got the job offer at Baylor. And so then I met this guy. He's the CEO of Chegg. His name is Dan. And I met him. Wait, that party, that was Final Four.
Y'all wasn't there yet.
So that was my first year? Okay, sorry. I'm trying to get the timeline down. So I met Dan at a Final Four party, and you know, he was super cool, super nice. We were the only ones who like weren't lit at the party. So we connected, and we talked about business, and I talked to him about, you know, what I'd done and some ideas that I'd had, and he was like, get me a deck, you know, and I'll invest in whatever you want to do. So I created this idea of, you know, 3-on-3, but I wanted it to be more like WWE style, you know, people talking big shit in the mics, like walkouts, like crazy, like probably a little too far-fetched, but I had always been in the business of like, how can we entertain people with women's basketball? Like, the product is lit, it's cool. And actually, we don't need to change anything about the product, which the older I got, I started to realize it was just, we got to figure out how to bring more people in and expose them to the product. Because once you watch a game, you want to keep coming back. You fall in love with a player, you fall in love with a team, you fall in love with a story, and now all of a sudden you didn't know anything about this, and now you a diehard, you know? And so I pitched him this concept of 3-on-3, and he loved the idea and was like, let's figure out how, you know, we connect you with different people. Unfortunately, you know, I was still at Baylor and I couldn't necessarily like connect and do everything that I could. Then all of a sudden, I heard that Fee and Stewie were gonna build a league. And I'm like, wow, this is great, like, cause this is exactly what I wanna do. I sent a text to Stewie. Stewie actually didn't respond, which is crazy. But then Alex Pizzell and Luke Cooper, who are other two co-founders, they reached out to me right when they found out I was leaving Baylor. And they were like, what are you doing, you know, after? But they didn't say
what it was for.
They didn't say what it was for.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm doing an NIL consulting company. And so I don't know if Luke had responded, but in his mind, obviously he's chalking it up that I'm busy. In my mind too, I was all in and focused on that. Once I started doing it, I realized I wasn't super passionate about it. It was just something
you were good at?
Yes, and that I'm a quote unquote, I guess, expert in, if you want to say it's that, but people would say. I was like, I don't think well, there are people that are experts, but I was like, I just think I've done this a lot and I know what I'm doing. Yeah. So after that, they reached out to me at the Final Four. So funny. I'm like, yeah, we'll link. At the Final Four, everybody knows the Final Four is a mess. Okay, like you say, yeah, bro, I'm gonna link you, or yes, sis, like we're gonna get down. You're not linking. Okay, it's just too much. It's too much going on. And so all of a sudden, we're at, maybe UConn was playing Iowa, I don't know, but we're at the UConn game, and we're all in the row next to each other. And Luke's like, bro, you ghosted us. And I'm like, no, like, we gotta connect. We don't connect. So I go back to Dan. I know they have the 3-on-3 league. I obviously hadn't necessarily heard if they'd want me to be a part of it, things like that. So I go to Dan and I'm like, I wanna do a one-on-one tournament. Dan's like, yo, I'm gonna connect you with Alex and Luke. They're doing 3-on-3. This one-on-one tournament could be like a sleeping giant. Cool. At this point now I'm harassing Alex and Luke. Like, we gotta meet.
You went from ghosting
to now I'm like, okay, I'm for real. So I set up a meeting with those two and they asked me like what I'm looking to do. They're telling me what they're trying to do. And I say, you know, I have this idea of a one-on-one tournament. And they're like, wow, that's crazy. We're also building a one-on-one tournament within this. Like, can you help us build this league? And I'm like, okay. Now this is sounding like a lot. Like I was like, now I start getting overwhelmed. Yeah. I'm like, you know, I just got rid of like my consulting company. And now I could take a little break. Now I'm about to be, you know, knee deep into this. Cause I mean, building a league, mind you, they're talking about they want to launch in January. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And so, you know, I kind of walk away from that. And then Kirby hits me, Porter. She had just agreed to like work with them. She was like, yo, Alex and Luke just talked to me. Like, we got to talk. You got to do this with us. And I'm like, okay, like, cause I'm all about like building a business with your friends, building something that you want to be. You want to be around each other every day. Not every day. I don't want to be.
We're really the same person for real. Like,
yeah,
like our birthdays are 2 days apart, so we kind of act just alike.
Yeah, so y'all are twins. And so then I was like, you know what? Like, let's do it. Like, this is history. This is a part of my personal mission statement. This is a part of growing the game. I knew we could help shake the table and give players leverage going into the CBA. And I'm like, this is how we make real change. Like, I can be a part of real change right now. How could I say no? So, you know, I told them yes, and I'm like, but look, like, I don't want to be boxed in to doing one thing. I want to do a little bit of everything, right? So I don't want to just be content. I don't just want to be, ops or player experience or, all of these other things. So when we're at a startup, titles at first kind of don't really matter, and then things get serious and then they do. And so I was like, whatever it is, I want it to be growth, right? Because growth is very ambiguous, but it can mean anything, right? Like growing the league, growing the brand, growing the players, growing grassroots, right? You can touch a little bit of anything. Content, you're not put in one box. I actually hate doing content. It's just something that I feel like I'm good at. But I'm spent out. When you've been posting like as long as I have, and whether it's ripping content or creating content, like I am tired.
I can only imagine, like, just yesterday with that tripod, I was like, I gotta do this like everywhere we go, right? Like this is something like I have to keep up with. I was like, now I gotta take all these videos, edit, take all the pictures and collage it together, and then I was like, but at the same time, I'm having to like, I can't just wait till we get to the game to start thinking of content. Like we did the duck for Ryan, and it's like this started back before I even left the home. Like I'm already having to work on that, but y'all can only imagine what you've.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, anyways, end up, taking the job, doing it. And this is actually, I guess, how we get into the hints. So,
Question too.
That is a question.
Okay, should I tell the story?
Go ahead.
Okay. So what's crazy is obviously everyone knew Fee and Stewie were going to be the first two players, right? No joke. Apparently, and this was before I was involved, people knew that Chelsea was going to play in the league. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I don't feel. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but apparently, I don't know if it's in an article or something, or maybe Chelsea was like endorsing the league or something. But regardless, the hint stuff was really on accident. Okay, so when we announced Stewie first, I was just kind of like, okay, thanks for kind of like playing along with us. And then we announced Fee, and I just did some GIF, which was like beehive type of thing for Queen Fee. And so I'm like, how can we make this a little fun and not just throw a graphic up? Mind you, I suck at editing, y'all. It takes me so long. I hate it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to create something for Chelsea Gray, because one, Chelsea Gray is one of my favorite PGs. Two, like, let's get into it, And I didn't tell anyone in the company that I was going to do this, because one, I was like, I don't want anyone to say no. I don't even know what this is going to turn into. Yeah. We're just going to do it. So it probably literally takes me like 12 hours to create this. Mind you.
How long it take to make hers? Because I was like,
2 hours? Okay, so then you're tough.
I said, here's the login. Do whatever you need to do.
Okay, yeah.
I said, send it to me and I'll be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, y'all are tough. But I was adding crazy stuff to Chelsea's, because Chelsea's was the one where it was like a cube, and there was like thunder, and there was like this voiceover talking about the significance.
Was hers the one that had like cards in the background also?
Yes, it had the aces cards, we were talking about the number 3, like it was a lot going on. And it took me a long time, but everyone was like, oh my God, this is dope, da da da. And
like, oh man, I gotta keep this up.
Yeah. Bro, so all of a sudden, then our people in the company were like, yo, who made this? And I was like, I made it. And they were like, this is incredible. Like, we gotta keep going. Like, we gotta keep doing this. And I'm like, oh shit.
And I done started some shit.
Now, and at this time, we're talking 30 players. I'm like, I gotta create 30 of these. Yeah. Luckily, Guy, who is incredible, and he can really cook and create, and it doesn't take as long as I do. And so I think I created maybe the first 4 or 5, and then after that I would just tell him what I was seeing in my head, and then he would help us create that. So then I think the fourth player was I don't know the order.
Listen, I know like 10 up for real. Like I know like De'Erica and up.
Okay.
I feel like
Was Jewel next or Enrique?
I think
Somebody was Notre Dame.
Dame.
I don't know.
wait, was it K-Mac?
She was announced later. It was Jewel or Enrique. I was gonna say Jewel, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Jewel or Enrique, but I just remember this is the funniest story. Mind you, I told you like I'm on social media, but I'm not really on social media. I don't watch TV. Do you guys know the reindeer? What's that? What's the Netflix show, Taj, with the reindeer? I don't know, but apparently it's a super problematic show. Okay, and I had seen this like.
You know what it is?
Is it Baby Reindeer?
Baby Reindeer. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen the show. Apparently it's super problematic. Okay. So if you ever looked at like our job descriptions for social, I put don't get us canceled. Like that's like the number one, that's the number one job description. Okay. And I just remember I was on CapCut. Okay. And I saw this like template and I thought it could be really cool because I think the Enrique hint was like, it was like showing like something online where you're like click here to see player number 4. And someone was like typing something like that. I don't know. And it showed on the computer like the Notre Dame like Clover. And so some of the template was like from Baby Reindeer. And so you could see like the guy's face. And I don't know what prompted me to do this, but I have a friend that is like tapped into everything culturally relevant. And I sent it to her and I was like, yo, is this show like problematic or anything? Or like, is there anything wrong with this? Mind you, this is like probably 10 minutes before the hint is supposed to go live. And she's like, you have to take that out. Like, Baby Reindeer is so bad. Like, why would you ever da-da-da? She's like killing me. And I was like, thank you, God, because the hint started here and now all of a sudden on my second try, like we finna be canceled type of thing. And so it's crazy because it's like, and we'd have to go back, but there are so many hints that I think were like really good, but like didn't make it. So we had to create like a lot of, you know, backup hints that were like either more safer or like easier. And then like the players started getting involved in the hints and started to be like asking Alex like, our president, like, yo, what's the hint gonna be? Or like, can we see the hint? And I was like, whoa. There is no approval for the hints. Like, there's approval for the graphics, but like for the hints, like, you just kind of gotta see, you know, what's happening. And also too, like, sometimes I couldn't even think of a hint until like, you know, crunch time. I don't know, like sometimes it comes to you, sometimes it doesn't. And then we started doing the hint explainers, which then I stopped because I was like, okay, if I let you guys kind of run with the idea and explain it for us, it was like better. Like when you guys started explaining why we were doing things, sometimes I was like, damn, we didn't think of that, but now I'm gonna say we did that, you know? Which was just like, but really cool to see how other people's brains worked, you know?
Rakia's hint.
Oh yeah,
ASAP.
You got in the bag. Y'all got in the bag
like,
for that. That was crazy.
I was like, whoa, the T on. I was like, you're right. Like
that was crazy.
The way that you like put this together.
Yeah.
My favorite to break down was Natasha's.
Cloud.
Yeah, hers was the Despicable Me, but with the Washington Monument, and it shot up to And I was like, look. I was like, this probably didn't have anything to do with it, but like, when the rocket lands, it looks like a zero. Like it was stuff that like you probably had not have thought of, but it helped me, and it was like, yeah, nah, I'm really right.
Yeah, you know? No facts, and that hint in particular, shout out to Guy, because I think I was really like, you know, once you can only do so many, right? And then it's like, okay, I don't want it to be too repetitive, but at the same time, like, even though I enjoyed making the hints hard, because I'm like, to me, it's like, okay, if you really know these players, like, you'll get this hint. But I know we were trying to introduce something new, right? And so, like, if we want people to kind of be a part of it, they kind of got to be able to get a little bit, but, like, Guy Guy created that hint and he helped get in his back. He was like, I got it. We need to do this. I'm like, cool. Just make sure you add in like the White House or something.
Yeah.
Because I think at one point somebody, actually, I don't know if I should say this, but, you know, I don't know if it like, they like not blew up the White House, but something. And I was like, all right, well, guys, like, we gotta bring this. We gotta bring this
that
back.
didn't come from Threads.
We gotta bring this back.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Especially when it was like, wait, I know this player.
Yeah.
I actually understand the hint.
Yeah.
It's like, and people are like, hey, like they start tagging me, like, hey, like explain this for us.
Yeah.
My favorite one was the tip one because
But listen, she's the only one
that got it.
that had she was the first one to get it, and we're all going, nah, like there's no way, like she's
the headphones, the bag.
Yeah.
But no, it's tip.
Yeah.
And the folks on Twitter were like, no, it looks like an elephant trunk. It's Ellie. It has to be a Liberty player. I said, them the slow cousins. That's why we don't play. That's why. That's exactly why we don't play.
But no, you're right. Like, and that was the cool. And I'll say, doing Tip's hint was probably the most fun that I had because, one, I know her, but two, I was like, okay, like Tip has a brand, and how else can we bring in like what she's doing into Unrivaled and help, you know, promote that in a way. And I just thought it was hilarious too, like, you know, putting the headphones on the logo and the bag, and you know, like Skylar Diggins-Smith with the trench coat.
Yes,
like,
that one was a fun one to break down too. The like
hilarious.
Mario,
Yeah.
like, and I was like, is that the what is it called? What is Seattle Needle?
Oh yeah, Space
and I
Needle.
I was
That was
like,
good.
is that Space Needle like in the little star that pops up on the flag? And
Yeah, and like the Tulsa shock. That was some of those were just really fun, but it was for me and the rest of our team just so cool to see like you guys having fun, but like breaking them down and like but people looking at you guys like, well, why is it that? Well, tell us why. Which I think was really cool, and why I said I give you guys like the most credit as far as getting people to jump into the hysteria and jump into the hype and just want to be a part of what we're doing. Because now all of a sudden you see WBB on Threads and Twitter, that's all they're talking about maybe for like 10 minutes, and now everyone's like, shit, I missed the hint.
No,
like,
listen, because I used to be at work and like I get that notification.
I work
and
nights.
She works nights, so she be sleeping.
I remember that.
And
I remember you telling
and I'm
me.
like texting her, I'm like, hey, I need you to get up. Like,
Yeah.
you have to job. Like,
No,
you got 10
facts.
minutes. Come on.
Yeah. I think I know one time, I actually have two instances. One time I think, maybe it was like ASAP or S that, no, it was ASAP then.
Okay.
It was ASAP. ASAP was like, maybe I didn't see them guess. And I was like, maybe I DM'd. And I was like, hey, just checking in. You good? And I did that, I think, with them, and I did that with this other girl. She used to put the clock on the
On Twitter, and, like a timer,
Yes.
and be like, all right, y'all have 10 minutes, y'all have 9 minutes. You know? Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, where you at?
You okay?
Like, you good? And she was like, girl, I had to do my shift. Like, she was like a nurse or something like that. And so she was like, my shift, da-da-da. And I was like, okay, like, I'm just making sure we ain't see you today. But I think that's really important though, right? Because it's like, hey, like, you know, we see you, and you start to know really who has been day ones or who is down with you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I know at one point I was like, I used to hate like being on the clock, and then like you'd be like, all right, clock in, and then like 2 minutes later, hey, we got a patient. And then I was like, oh. I was like, I don't think I understand. Like, I can go sit in the bathroom real quick. Like, I gotta finish guessing this hint. Like, I gotta break it down. I gotta type it up and everything. Y'all gotta give me like 5 minutes. Like, I'll be there.
Hilarious.
I would hate waking up and be like, I missed that. God.
Yeah.
No, and then she get on Thursday and be like, did I miss it? Don't piss me off. We're 3 hours late. It's 3 hours later.
No, that was funny, and then there was something else that was hilarious to me.
Oh, another one I liked was the AT one. Because at that point, I just wanted AT in the league. And I was like, I'm going to say AT for all of them.
Yeah.
And it was right. And I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Y'all owe me a drink or something.
No, facts. That one was tough because it's like, like I know her, a couple of her former coaches were like, had commented like, this is the perfect hint. And I know she liked it, but it's like, if you don't really know that she's the engine, how would you really get it? And I was like, okay, well,
Because who do we? Because hers was, was it that we were trying to break down this? Oh, I remember. Because she knew who it was over here.
You see
Benji knew.
locked in.
But we thought it was, I was trying to break down the car as like a Corvette or whatever. So I was like, initial CC. I was like, dang, they got Kennedy Carter. Like we're breaking this down. We was trying to come up with stuff just to make sure we was right. You know? Like, it didn't necessarily have to be right, but like.
Yeah. And then I just knew, it was somebody on Twitter that was like, I'm having a good day if I get the hint right. If I get the hint wrong, like my whole day is messed up. And I was like, okay, like I get it. But no, it's that was so much fun. I think it was stressful, but it was a lot of fun for us, and I think just a cool concept. You know, instead of just being like, hey, here's who's in the league.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you have to do something different. And a lot of times, you know, people think a lot of things in marketing and social are planned. Like, some of the best marketing comes from accidents and literally just trying something, see how it goes, especially if there's no blueprint in doing it. And, you know, it worked with the hints, and something definitely that as we bring in new players to the league for next year, you know, we still want to incorporate, but hopefully not dragging out the process as long as we did. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no, people start to get like restless at the end, especially when like 6 more players. Like, we got 6 more hits to get through. And I was like, that's just more for us to guess, you know? Like, them last, I can't lie, the last 6 I was like, y'all, I don't even have it in my brain anymore to keep guessing.
I'm tapped.
Like,
Give me the player.
Once we hit 30, I was like,
Yeah, give me the player.
like,
Yeah.
but no, I enjoyed the hints for sure. Listen, we thank you for being here,
Yeah.
for being our first guest. Like, we wanted to give you your flowers today. We want you to be able to talk about, you know, your experience and all that. And so,
Because we wouldn't be here without you.
No,
we would.
That email, I mean, that text is what.
No,
Yeah.
let me tell you, I was supposed to send you that text message like a whole week before that. But she had told me about it, and I was like, I don't even know how to approach this. Like, I'm psyching myself. Like you said, I'm psyching myself out.
It's
And I was
unreal.
like, I gotta send a text message. Like, I have to do it. And I was like, send this whole paragraph, do it. And I sent 2 words back, and I said, and I feel
And I'm
empowered.
motivated. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
I feel empowered. Like, I'm ready to
Oh,
go.
you gotta show that text.
Yeah.
Nah, when I read it, I was like, nah, y'all gotta do it. And especially y'all gotta do it, cause like, the same way where I know this will blow up is like the same way where, like, I'm not kidding when I say, like, the hints blew up because of y'all. So don't get that twisted.
And that's another reason why we went ahead and was like, all right, we can do this, because we had like, I like threw a little filler out there, and I was like, yeah, I kind of want to start a podcast. Should I do it? And everybody's like, yes. Like, how do I subscribe now?
Yeah.
Like, do this. And I was like, wait, like, there's actually people that like that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
was like, it's crazy.
All them threaders you got on there. Like,
Threaders.
The
That's what we gonna
threaders.
call them.
yeah. Well, the cousins.
No, we call them the
Wait, what are
Threaders. They're cousins. They're our cousins.
Thramily? That's
Thramily.
hilarious.
Yeah, they're our
I'm
Thramily.
stealing that. Thramily. Okay. I like it. But no, this was great. Thank you guys so much for having me.